Hello there, I'm the John and welcome to a new video. So, the emergency patch is here and today after probably 2 weeks, probably a bit less, maybe 10 days, a bit more than 10 days, I played Tekken 8 for the first time. As I wanted to try this balance adjustment, how they feel and how they felt. Mainly the general adjustment rather than go into the single character changes. So what they've done is basically changing all the broken stuff, like Jack, Paul, some of June stuff. They left still some completely obscene stuff, like Lars having infinite heat, Law having infinite heat, and this kind of things. And then they applied a couple of general changes to basically make the game playable. The most important being the reduced chip damage and the increased health. So how the game feels now? The game feels, well, technically is better, but I don't want to use the word better because it will may come through a message that is not what I think the game feels now. The game is more bearable, is less worse, which these things mean better, but the game is far away from good. So the increased health make you feel the match like less punitive. During the round you feel less punished for, having guessed wrong. And as well, because of hit dash heavily scales combo now and chip damage is less, you basically get a 3 interaction, a 2.5, 3 interaction match now. Which is better because it lasts longer and you basically is no more basically a touch of that combo into pressure into one poke of that. But nonetheless, they still the real problem this game has, and it still is very feelable, is very much there now in the game, is that the game wants to go for basically only big interactions. Everything that happens, every clash you have with your opponent, it needs to be something huge that leads to something obscenely huge. That's what it needs to be. Either is a sequence of block string because you're always plus, either is a counter hit launcher or just a massive launcher and you do a million damage. And if it is something that is probably a bit less rewarding, is usually either a move that is crazy insanely plus on hit that gives you a full on mix up after, a hit engager, or a knockdown move that gives you a guaranteed follow-up. And this is basically what makes the game very hard to enjoy, with the extra health and the reduced damage, in generally speaking, especially the reduced chip, that's actually very good. It feels like you can bear more interaction, it feels like a bit less daunting to play, but nonetheless it feels still like when you're winning you don't feel like you're winning because you are playing better necessarily, and when you're losing you don't feel outplayed, which is a very important thing. And this I think is the main problem that Tekken 8 is having now, is at the core of his experience there is not reward involved into the game. There is no conscious reward involved, there is not prize coming from you be better, because most of the time it comes just to be the one that is going better on a casino. And this is still all there. All the things that we were complaining on the release in Season 2 are still there. Every character being homogenized, every character being a stance character, or the characters that are not stance character anyway having kind of pseudo stance mix-ups, like Brian is crouch move is a crouch low, and Kazuya having his wing step accessible from strings. All of these things are still there because that's the kind of direction the game wanted to do. Like, you pressure your opponent and you put yourself in a situation where you can apply a mix-up, and it feels just flat as an experience, and all of that is still absolutely there. And that's not something obviously they could have changed in 2 weeks. The problem being, I don't know how they're gonna adjust all the moves that they added, basically the one that emphasize this kind of mechanics, in the next month. Because I don't know how you can adjust Brian's Low to be something that works without giving a 50-50, giving back the identity the character had. And this is a big problem. This is a big problem because it is a potential not fixable problem. from my point of view, from what I used to love in Tekken, and I know that there is a big chunk of the community that sees this as a problem, especially if you used to play characters that had a strong identity and they were very unique, like Lee, like Steve, like Brian. And as I said in the past, I'm not having fun playing Brian at the moment. I tried Brian today and it feels, again, I started to get more successful in the matches when I started to just turning off my brain and going into a +7 mid into a crouch mix-up, using a basically obscenely strong low. And it really did not feel like playing Brian, did not feel rewarding all the time that I invested in learning a very unique character that was playing in a very specific and different way. And this, I don't see it changing anytime soon, because it's not what they were trying to achieve with the game in the first place. And this potentially might come on a problem, or it might be just the nature of Season 2 until Season 3, and if this fails, maybe they're gonna reverse the kind of orientation the game was going to be. Not saying that the game is gonna become defensive, but just they're gonna reverse this kind of change of giving heavy mix-ups on every single character. But yeah, that's probably 3 changes that at the end of the day, 2 changes that at the end of the day are very good, is the hit dash being nerfed. I'd say that that's something that I'm surprised they needed a year to come here, as well as the hit engager being +9 now. Surprised they needed a year to get here. It's good to have both of these changes. I think that the hit dash is the most impactful one, because hit dash combos now, they do way less damage. You still get your 90 to 100 damage, but that one in combination, the increased health, it feels more bearable, as I said, and especially if you use a hit dash starting combo, is gonna be very much deflated because you're getting directly 60% damage. Hit engager being +9, honestly, I don't see it as much as a big change. You have counterplays, yes, but unless your opponent goes for a crazy slow move, you're still holding it. To be honest, on my point of view, hit being the kind of mechanic that he is, I don't see the big deal on hit engager being so plus. The big problem is not that, the big problem is what you get access after you get the hit engager, because you have a full toolkit that is insanely plus as well. It's not just only the hit engager, and you can chain these tools all together after you land an hit engager, which is your plus frame starter basically. And that's what honestly I dislike, because if you have heavy frame advantages set on around +4, +5 instead of +1,000,000 like some moves now, having an hit engager that is heavily plus gives you, yes, forces basically one mix up, but then the only thing you can force after that, it would be hypothetically a +4, and in a +4 situation the defender has a lot of counterplay. The defender can do a lot of things based on your tendencies, and that's probably where the real problem resides, in my opinion. But overall, I would say yes, it's obviously a positive change. And just to address basically what everyone is saying about developers are listening and all that kind of things, let me be clear. My point of view in that is that if they will manage with this emergency patch to make the game worse, it was the moment that the game would have been dead. They could have not made this game worse of what they did on release on Season 2. The developers apologizing is not the first time they've been doing this, because they fucked up in the past, and they show us that basically their first apology during the Gamaji Temple did not mean shit. Things, they change a bit, they start to write down what is for pay and what is free to play, and that's it. So as I said, from now on, for me, from the developers, I will honestly kind of ignoring whatever they're gonna say, as they are basically speaking very political messages, and I will just look at the facts. I will look at the patch notes, how this relates to the game and how the game is moving, in which direction is moving. And if the game starts to move in a good direction, as the community would like, well, the game developers are gonna start to gain my trust back. But this is how I personally feel at the moment. It's a step in the right direction, yes. It fixes a lot of problems, yes. But let's put context into this. These are not problems fixed that were in Season 1 and this problem has been fixed. A lot of these problems were created by them in the first place, just going completely banana bullshit with their ideas. And a lot of these problems are still there, because get ready for EVO Japan. It's not gonna be a fun tournament to watch. I don't expect it to be an enjoyable tournament to watch. Definitely less enjoyable than what was the Buzz exhibition against, I think it was in Seoul, the Korea versus Pakistan. So yeah, they took a car that was already quite hammered in season 1, they slammed it to a wall, and in this patch they changed a tire with a new tire. The car still needs a full refurbishment. It just has a new tire for now. And we'll see how is it gonna go. Will I play back Tekken 8? Probably yes. I will play a bit more now. It's still not going to be like before, where I was play on a daily basis. But I will be playing a bit more. I don't think ranked, but the game feels, as I said, a bit more bearable. Because you don't feel like you guess wrong once you died. You have to guess wrong like 3 times. And therefore, it's very unlikely that you're gonna guess wrong 3 times in a row. And you die because of that. So yeah, but overall, the game experience, how the game feels, the game design is still the same. It's not changing in this patch. And I don't know if they're going to change it in the future. I really hope they will. I'm curious to see, as they said that Brian is going to be one of the dress characters in mid-May. I'm curious to see if they really want to revert and give him an identity back. If that happens, then I'm going to be listening again. Then I'm going to say, chapeau. You are really listening finally. But that's it. I said I really don't want this video to be very long. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about the Season 2 patch. If you were not playing the game, are you playing the game now? Do you find it enjoyable? Maybe you are one of these mad people that does not like the hit engager being +9. But let me know down below. Okay. But for that, I'm Ninja John. You've been awesome, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!